Okay, today we're going to make a reusable firecracker out of just some basic household items. We've got a spark plug. It can be an old used up spark plug, doesn't have to be functional. We have a bolt. We have an old inner tube, bicycle inner tube. It can be popped or whatever. And then a stick. And those are the only things that we need. Okay, so first you got to take the little spark thing off. You can just kind of bend it and break it off. Comes off pretty easily. Then you have to take the electrode along with the insulator, round it out. This is a little bit harder. Kind of have to just bend it back and forth. That'll break the insulator. And then you just have to kind of work at the electrode until you can break it off. So it takes a lot of work to get the electrode out. This is the hardest part of the whole job, but you just bend it back and forth and eventually the metal will fatigue and it'll break off and you can pull it out. So once the metal fatigues and breaks, you can pull it right out. This is actually easier on a used spark plug. So if you have an old worn out one, it'll come out easier than on a new one. And then once you have that out, you should just have a little chamber empty. Okay, once you have an empty chamber in the spark plug, you need a bolt that fits in there. You want the bolt to be snug but be able to go in. You'll have to experiment a little bit on that depending on the size of your spark plug. In this case, I have a small motorcycle spark plug. I have a quarter 20 bolt, and it doesn't quite fit in, but we want it to be as tight as can be and still fit in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one, but I'm going to use an angle grinder to just shave down the threads a little bit so it'll fit in. Okay, now that we use a grinder to take off the edges of the threads, it fits in nicely. Nice, snug fit. That's what we want. Next, you need a stick, a few inches in diameter, a couple feet long. Actually, a broken shovel handle would work great, but I don't have that, so I just cut one off of a tree. And once you have your stick, you take your spark plug and you pound it into the end of the stick with a hammer. Pound it in all the way until it gets to the end of the ceramic. Alright, next you need some rubber straps that you can make out of an old broken bike tire. So, cut some straps a few inches long. So you want your straps to be not too wide, maybe a quarter inch thick or so. Okay, so once you have your strips of rubber, use a piece of string and tie them into place. You'll probably want to do several wraps to make sure that it's nice and tight. You don't want them to move. Wrap it around tightly a couple of times. Then we'll cut it off and tie it off. Okay, so once you have the rubber tied to to stick, you need to tie it to the bolt. So you put the bolt in here, and then you want to give it a little bit of tightness. And then take your string, and tie it in place around it very tight so that it'll hold. Several wraps again, and then cut it and tie it off. Alright, once you have it all tied up, the screw should go down kind of snugly into the hole, and you can put it aside, and then it'll hold it in when you put it down. Alright, so now we've got to fuel it up, and for that we'll use matches, the wooden matches that come in a box like this. You take it and you scratch off the heads into the little chamber. And how loud it is going to be depends on how many you put in. We'll try 3 of them, 3 match heads right now. Okay, so the chamber's full of 3 match heads. Next we're going to take a very small amount of the striker, just rip it off and put it strike side down on top of the matches. Once you do that, take your bolt and push it in. Okay, so once you have it all loaded, you find a nice hard concrete surface, and you're going to pound it down against the concrete surface, and it should make a loud noise. There you go, reusable firecracker. Just take it out and fill it back up, and you do it again.
Oh wow.
So the nice thing about these is that they're super cheap and easy to make, especially if you use a used spark plug. And then they cost almost nothing, just a couple matches to reuse. They're louder than normal firecrackers. The firecrackers that are this loud might be illegal where you live, and they won't blow off your hand if you're too slow on the fuse, and they won't start any fires. So great for the 4th of July.